Okay, so we're back with the Busch van build. Well, modification or whatever you want to call it. While I had it apart, I painted the interior. I decided that I was going to go ahead and do something different with the van and not just leave it like it was stock. I'm going to take a fresh, clean number 11 blade and cut the door and make the door open. I'll put an interior on the door, like a little handle and the window roll-up handle or whatever, and you know, make it look nice, detail it. And I didn't want to, you know, handle the cab a whole lot with my big old fingers and have the paint come off, so I sprayed it a clear matte finish. Some of you modelers have tried this. I know one of my friends in particular tried it and it messed up his engine. Sorry, Kenny. But, you know, I do use it. I use Kryolan Matte Finish Clear. There is a few different makes of this Kryolan Matte. I noticed there's a Kryolan Matte Semi-Gloss and Gloss and the Clear and then the Flat, and then this one is called the Matte Finish. It has a number right here, number 1311, and that's the only one I use. I tried another one of the Krylons. The can looked slightly different. I still had the paint brushes in the jar on the front, but it said something else different. I can't remember what it said. I have the empty can around here somewhere. I'll look for it. But that one did some damage to some of my decals and some of the paint, and actually made it crack and warp. This one I use. I do not put it on thick. I hold the can pretty far away. I just let it mist on, and I usually do it with a little bit of wind outside so it dries really fast and doesn't have a chance to really bubble or warp. Have I had 100% success with this? No. But to me, it's worth it. I'll show you some of my stuff. I'll go ahead and put up a couple of pictures right now. All of these have this Kryolan Clear Matte. All my engines, all my freight cars, all my vehicles. So here's a couple right now for you to look at. Okay, so, you know, those aren't too bad. They're not, you know, 100% great, but they're not too bad. So, I'll take out a brand new number 11 blade and fix it into the X-Acto knife handle. The one thing that I like doing is I like customizing things because I like to have a one-of-a-kind item. One of a kind as in, you know, anybody can do it. It's really not that hard. But the fact is, not a lot of people take the time to do it. I notice when some people do, I don't know if they're on YouTube, but there are some people on Facebook. One of the guys' names is Jesse Machold. I think I might be saying his name wrong. Sorry if I am, Jesse. But he models vehicles, and my gosh, that guy is good. I mean, his models look super real. Another guy is Brian Donato. Those two guys on Facebook have some beautiful trucks. I mean, just perfectly weathered and detailed, and they just look great. Some of them have the doors open, you know, the front wheels are slightly turned a little bit, so it gives a little bit of realism to it, and they look great. And, you know, I've done that with a lot of my vehicles in the past, but I'm not as good as a lot of other modelers, so, you know, it doesn't end up turning out perfect, but the idea is still there, and, you know, anybody can do it. It's really not that hard. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and do the the starting of a scribe mark. When I usually do these, I usually leave where the hinges are on, so when I open the door it stays on the natural hinge area, so that way I don't have to use a lot of glue to glue the door back onto the cab, and you won't see a whole lot of glue, and that really helps with the process of keeping the door on without it really getting too weak and falling off, and without having to use a lot of glue. So I'll stop rambling and go ahead and start cutting. There's really no easy way to do this, especially for a modeler like me with big hands. The starting scribe mark is the most important. That's the one I will have to stay with a very steady hand, because if I mess up, the X-Acto knife will want to follow that same track, the mess up line track, every single time I try to run the X-Acto knife blade. And I don't want that to happen. Want this to work as smoothly as possible, so when I do finally start pushing really hard, the blade has its own track that it follows. Oops, messed up there. That'll be something else. Oh, messed up again. Those two little mess ups will be something I'll have to sand later and fix. I'll probably have to put another coat of white on this as well, just because I have to handle it so much during the cutting process. But I'll go ahead and keep cutting on this. I'll show you where I messed up so I can show you how I fix it later. You can see the two little lines at the front of the door. It kind of sliced into the door a little bit. That's not a big deal. I can fix that. Because I wasn't pushing really hard, it didn't go in real deep. So I'll show you later how I fix my mistakes, because everybody makes mistakes, alright? If there's somebody out there who says they don't, they're lying to you. Everyone makes mistakes, and it's okay. And it's okay to repair them. And I'll show you how I repair that. But I'm going to go ahead and scribe off camera, because it'll take like 20 minutes to do it, and you know, it'd be boring for you guys. So the magic of the camera, you'll come back and I'll show you prying the door open. Okay, so I've scribed on the door. Gonna move this stuff out of the way real quick. Try to keep it in view of the camera here so you can see. I did not, let's put it where you can really see it. I did not go all the way through on this side, but I did all the way around the bottom, this side, and up in here. So what I want to do is I actually want to push the door inside first. Okay, it looks like for the most part it's coming. Okay, now I'm going to push it back outward. It broke right here on this seam, which is, it's okay, because I can always glue that back together. I want to get the door to the outside. It might not be all the way through right up here on the top, so I'm going to run it through a couple more times. Okay, I think I got it. I don't want this bottom piece to come out, but I want the door to come out. Probably haven't scribed it deep enough. So where am I? Right there. So I'll go through it a little bit more. Trying not to break all the frail plastic is the hardest part of this. Okay, pretty much got it. This little fender piece looks bad, so I'm going to fix it real quick. I'm just going to scribe it a little bit, try not to cut into my finger. Cutting right down in here. That's going to be very thin right there. I'm thinking I might pull the door all the way out since this has been a tough one, and sand it and clean it up. You know, for the most part it's going to be pretty easy to get it out of there, but the hard part will have it looking good when it's done. It might not look all that great. And then I'll have ruined a model. Just going to go ahead and cut a little bit more. It's a good way to cut a model. I'll back it off a little bit so you can see. A lot of times I put this on the bench and then line up the line and then just lightly push it down. That way it doesn't move a whole lot in the direction I don't want it to move, and my hand doesn't shake as much. Well, it broke off, but I can actually glue it back on. Okay, I really butchered that one up, didn't I? That will have to be glued back on. This little piece here broke off, and then the fender piece down here under the door broke off. Which that's not a big deal because now I can actually straighten it and clean it up and make it look better. Okay, so I'll glue that back on. That piece there on the bottom that came off. And then I can clean up the door, which is off, and put an interior on it. You know, just clean it up, shave it, very lightly sand it, and then paint it. So the first thing I'm going to do is got my trusty crazy glue and glue this piece back on here. I want it to be firmly rigid. I had somebody leave a message on my YouTube channel. Don't use super glue. Don't use CA. I've been using CA for more than 20 years. The stuff that I've had for more than 20 years, it's all still together. I mean, not to sound mean or anything, but it works on everything. Wooden houses. I have a wooden house here that I built over 20 years ago with CA. And it's still, I mean, there's pieces broke off because I was pretty rough with it. I robbed some pieces out of it. I took the whole kitchen out and can't remember where I put it. And I made a couch and all that, a bed and a TV. Well, you can't see it all, but the porch, a little back porch with a screen door with a real screen from a window screen in it. All of this plastic and wood was glued together with CA, and it's, you know, it's pretty tough. You know, you can drop it all around, nothing comes off of it. And this is probably 23, 24 years old. Just sitting up on my bench. So it doesn't really matter what you use, it matters how you use it. If you use too much CA, super glue, crazy glue, it doesn't bond well. And no, CA probably won't weld plastic together. But you know, it works for me. Not only have I built balsa wood, but I built everything. This old passenger car that I shortened into a very shorty. I don't know what to call it. It was glued together. Can even tell where the seam is. It was glued together with CA years ago. I just started working on it again recently. But, you know, stuff like this, and it's been glued together for years, so it works. Okay, so I'm rambling again. Anyway, I'm going to glue this piece here, if you can see it, back onto the bottom. I'm not in the center of the frame again. I have a problem with that, don't I? I'm going to glue this piece back on the bottom here. I'm going to clean it up and then show you what it looks like. And then I'll show you how I fix the little problems I made on the door. Be right back.